And would you have any recommendations for companies that want to get started with dealing with this, this whole topic we're discussing of working with without having a budget?
Yeah, I guess the first thing is to look at where are the big operating budgets, and those are most likely your biggest opportunities from which to fund an initiative. And so that's likely going to be your labor budget and your transportation budget. And then there's additional outside expenses and technology and support and services. But go where the money is. That would be the first place to look. And then if it's related to labor, one of the big misconceptions we see is that when you're dealing with people like this and you're changing the way that they perceive the value that they add to their workday, it's all about the people, and it's all about creating the right culture and the right workforce strategy. Unfortunately, we're seeing this pushed or promoted as a software initiative or as an engineering project. Now, those are two important and necessary components of a project, a labor management project, but they are certainly not the overarching emphasis or the underlying theme for what these programs need to be successful. And one of the biggest risks of doing a program like this is, in the past, when you had to buy a new piece of technology or a new piece of automation or a new software system, you had to get those things working to run the business. So if you put in a new warehouse management system, you had no choice but to get it to work, or else the business would fail. With a labor management program or pay for performance, it's clearly optional. So it's like going to the gym. It's not something you have to do, but if you do it, you get great results. But because it's optional, therein lies its greatest risk. And so the risk is once the economy turns around, or there's a merger or divestiture or something else that takes management's attention, and they think that they've got the labor management program licked, and they take all their attention away from it, these programs can easily wither on the vine and die. So it is a big opportunity for companies to improve their supply chain without any capital, but they need to understand the commitment that they're going to make once they head down that road.
Quantitative results can you see from the labor management initiatives?
We did research for a supply chain national convention a few years ago, the CSCMP meeting, and we interviewed dozens of executives who had done this program recently and many, many years ago. So we had a variety of folks who had experience from it from all different angles. And the average performance improvement that we saw across all those programs was about 45%. And then when we looked at what the top 10, the top tier programs, the ones who had done just about everything right, and we came up with some qualifications to what defined a top performing program in terms of coverage, technical expertise, executive support, and so forth. Those top performing companies that use these programs averaged a 62% in productivity improvement. So a 62% improvement, if the facility is pumping out 100 units per hour for wall, at the end of the program they're getting 162 units per man hour. So it's a tremendous improvement. They're getting far more, either they're getting far more output with the same people, or they're getting the same output with fewer people. And we're also seeing a lot of qualitative improvements to the supply chain in terms of strengthened and bolstered management skills. We're seeing lower turnover. We're seeing a shift over time to a higher grade or a higher mix of people in the workforce. So think of it going from a rec soccer team to the travel club soccer team. The mix of players on the team has has been elevated over time. So the folks who are drawn to that type of environment tend to stick around. And we're seeing an interesting side effect that we found was that all the prior investments in software, technology, automation became improved. So we heard material handling companies say, we've got this great installation with the latest technology and sortation and storage and retrieval, but frankly we're disappointed with our customer. We don't even think they're qualified to have the keys to run it. And then after a program like this, even say voice picking technology, it improves the utilization, the throughput, the compliance, and the attention on doing a good job, that they get much more return on assets or much more utilization out of their existing infrastructure. It's always a surprise when doing a people-focused program. So, for instance, we approached a retail distribution labor management program a few years ago, and it had fairly average performance in the facility. And we started in one department, and the senior VP cautioned us, and he said, look, listen, the manager of this department, I'm not sure is going to make it. He's got one foot out the door. We've been counseling him, so we can give it a shot there, but I'm not sure he's going to be our greatest supporter. 6 months later, after working with him and giving him new tools on how to operate and run his department, giving him all the feedback and performance scores from which he could now coach his associates to higher performance, and giving him the training on how to become a coach, he became the most effective manager or most effective coach in the entire building. So from going from nearly out the door to the best coach in the building, because we and the management gave him a new set of tools, grabbed him by the collar, pulled him up, and pointed him in the right direction and showed him how to be successful. Completely transformed his personal life and his professional life.
Logipi.